I'm Neil Anderson, here being interviewed by Dean Armada, and we're going to talk about changes in the IT training industry.
All right, let's talk about training business. And we can start from Cisco training. So before, there are not too many available training options. We have CNAP, or the Cisco Network Academy program, or the more expensive Cisco Learning Partner training. But now, there are many options. Okay, we have Udemy, Skillshare, LinkedIn Learning, and many more. There are a lot of certifications also. They offer exam and training bundle. Okay, now here's my question: what's going to happen in this training format, this training business, specifically the CLP, or the Cisco Learning Partner training? Also, what will happen to the CCSIs? You were a CCSI.
Yeah.
I am still a CCSI, Cisco Certified System Instructor. What do you think will happen in training business, or this live classroom training business?
Well, yeah, everything is moving online. The reason it wasn't there before was internet bandwidth, because it has to be delivered over video.
Oh yeah.
People didn't have the bandwidth at home to be streaming videos, then it made it more difficult. But because everywhere has got huge bandwidth now, that everything online is on video, training can be delivered online as well. And it's much more affordable doing it online. So it just makes sense. Of course, if I've got the option, if I can spend $4,000 to do a 5-day classroom course, or I can learn the same knowledge for $10 doing it online, of course, I'm going to do it online.
Yeah, not too many people are not aware how expensive the live classroom environments, especially the CCNP data center, or CCNP security. These are $4,000 to $5,000 courses, 5 days.
Yeah.
Right? Now, do you think it's going down, or at least the demand will slowly?
I mean, those courses, the only attendees on those courses, it was always company funded.
Enterprise.
Yes.
Expense.
If you're an individual, it's highly unlikely you're going to have $4,000 lying around that you can spend on training. Companies, yes, they did have that kind of money. Also, they wanted to do it through official channels, so often they would do it through CLP. Also, if the company was buying Cisco equipment, then often they would get training credits. Yeah, bundle. So the training came as part of them buying the hardware anyway. But as you're seeing now, also I think with coronavirus, that affected it as well, that companies are used to people working from home, doing things over video, so they're seeing, well, it makes sense, yes, we can do their training online over video now as well. And again, it's just much more affordable. And also, really, the quality is very similar as well. If the classroom training had much higher quality, then you could maybe argue it was worth the additional expense. But when it's so much more expensive, and really you can get a comparable training experience online, it makes sense to take the better value option.
One best example is INE. So way back, they only offer CCIE classes.
Yeah.
And they have also options for the workbooks and recorded videos. But a lot of CCIE classes, or live CCIE classes, are available from CCIE routing switching. They call it routing switching back then. Security data center wasn't available before, but even storage was, I think, it's available service provider. But if you look at their website, they don't offer it anymore. No more classroom live environment offered by INE.
Yeah, I can understand why they would do that. I used to do online coaching as well when I first started. I had my video on demand courses, but I would also do live coaching with students as well. If you're doing live coaching, you're tied down to a fixed schedule. Of course, you have to schedule a time that you're going to do these live training sessions, so you're tied down to doing that. When you offer only video on demand, you don't have to be somewhere at a fixed time, so it gives you as an individual a lot more freedom. I haven't spoken to the guys at INE, so it might be a completely different reason, but I could understand if that's what the reason was. The instructors there, they've been doing it for a long time, and maybe they just thought, hey, now's the time that I don't want to be doing this on a scheduled basis. I'd rather just move to purely video on demand.
All right. But for some, they prefer the live classroom environment, especially for those who are starting their I-30 or their CCNA.
Yeah.
Okay? I think it depends which preference.
Yeah.
Okay. But here's the more interesting part. I believe some vendors like Cisco is developing this new training technology. It's like a metaverse, where it's online. So they put their 3D, what do you call that? The virtual
VR,
Oculus Rift, and then they will be in a training environment, maybe futuristic with the avatar, and they can actually connect virtual routers, switches, firewalls, interact data center, and the instructor and your co-students will be in the same metaverse application. Okay. What do you think about it?
To be honest, maybe I'm going to sound like a grumpy old man now, but it just seems like a gimmick to me. I don't really think it adds any extra value over just the options that we've got already right now.
So are you saying the Zoom or the WebEx setup would be the same as the metaverse setup?
Yes, because there's no need to show anything in 3D. But with one exception, you could show a representation of a physical piece of equipment, like a router, a switch, or a firewall, and how to plug something into it. But really, it's so trivially easy. I know for the new beginners, they don't realize this, and they think that they're going to be physically working with the equipment all the time. But the reality is, if you're working as basically almost any IT engineer, the amount of time you work remotely, you're working at a command line or through a web interface, you're not physically touching the equipment. Physically touching the equipment is just taking it out of the box, putting it in a rack, which is, if you can operate a screwdriver, then you can do that, and then plugging some cables in, which is, if you can buy a TV, and you can install the TV yourself, which is just plugging the power into the wall, and maybe plugging the HDMI in. Yes, it's trivially easy. So the actual, as almost any IT engineer knows, the networking, the other IT roles as well, you are not physically touching the equipment hardly ever. And when you are physically touching it, it is trivially easy what you're doing anyway. The reason that you need knowledge and skills is for configuring the device, for actually making it work, securing it, troubleshooting it, and that is all done remotely. You're not physically touching the equipment. So, no, you don't need a VR helmet to learn how to type commands in a command line.
All right. That one, our perspective is, doesn't add real value.
Doesn't add any value.
But I think the kids will love it.
Well, the kids might find it interesting and exciting, yes. And I mean, anything that we can do that is going to get people more excited, more interested in learning is a good thing.